Hey there, my beautiful friends. I hope y'all are doing well today. I've got my emotional support pillow here with me today. It has little hearts on it and stuff, and I have this pillowcase that has the type of edge that I love on it. But I just wanted to come on here and just chat with you guys for a little bit. It's not going to be I don't think it's going to be a super long video because it's late at night. I hope you guys are doing well, whatever time of day it is, where you're at. But today was kind of a chill day. It was rainy today, so we didn't really do all that much. I mean, we went and got food, and we went to a thrift store. Didn't find any new stuffies or anything like that, so I have no new stuffies or anything to show you guys. And actually, that's one of the things I want to talk about is I am going to attempt to, like, reduce how many stuffies I bring into my life. Not because I don't want to collect stuffies anymore, because I'm, like, not collecting anymore or any of that. This halt in stuffy, looking for stuffies and things like that is only a temporary thing. Because, like I think I mentioned in a previous video, my partner and I are looking to move. So we are looking into trying to find a permanent home. And instead of renting, which is what we're doing now, we want to try to buy a home. And we've just started that process of trying to see how we can make it work and looking for different places around us and stuff to see what we can afford and things like that and everything. And I want to try to, and you guys know that moving is takes a lot. And it involves packing, it involves doing all the things, and so I want to try to, like, limit how much stuff I have until we move and stuff, so that I don't have to worry so much about packing everything. And so I want to try to, like, not buy as much stuff until we end up having our permanent home and everything. And there's things that I like, there's still things in our house that we want to get rid of, because we're not planning to take it when we move. But I don't want to add more stuff that we have to eventually pack and eventually move with. And so, I want to try to, like, halt some of the, like, buying new things, unless we absolutely need to, or like, unless I, like, get rid of some stuff, then I'll maybe buy more stuff. But I want to try to, like, make sure that the stuff that I already have, that we are able to find a place for it in our new home, and find a way to better organize it, because you guys kind of have seen what my stuffies look like right now, right? There's like a stuffy wall mountain at the moment. It's organized, but I want to make sure that the stuffies that I have, that we have a way to organize them in the new home, and see of the stuff that I already have, what's going to work in the home, whatever home that is that we end up purchasing. So, I don't want to add more stuff until I know exactly how all of that is going to work. And so I want to try to stop that part of things. Does that mean that we won't go thrifting together anymore? No. I will still go to thrift stores. I will still show you guys stuffed animals. I will still do my toy hunting videos. But I just probably won't be doing any, like, updated toy haul videos, if that makes sense. I will show you guys still the stuff that I have. Obviously, I will show you guys the stuffies I currently have, and when we get ready to move, whenever that is, don't have a timeline right now. We know that we're going to be moving within the next year or year and a half. If we find a place sooner, then we'll move then, but the timeline is within the next year and a half. We want to have our own place. So we just want to make sure that, like, we move only with the stuff that we want to keep. And I have done a lot of decluttering in my life. like significant amount of decluttering. Um, like I feel like we have less stuff now than we did when we first moved into this house. Um, but at the same time, I also like don't want to add any more stuff. Um, so yeah, we will still go to thrift stores. I will still look for stuff. You know, I'll still go through and look for things, but it just, I think for the stuffies, I think for right now, I'm going to attempt to try to halt the stuffy buying for right now. Unless, like I said, I get rid of things. And at the moment, I'm happy with the collection of stuffies that I have. I'm happy with the stuff that I own at the moment. And I don't really want to get rid of anything at the moment. Again, that may change. But that's just something that we're looking at. And I want to put a lot of my focus on organizing what we already have, on finding ways to like work on myself a little bit. So obviously you guys know that comfort items are a big part of my life. Stuffed animals, they are a huge comfort, especially when I'm having a really hard time. And I think I will always be a collector. And stuffed animals, I think, will always be something that bring me joy and something that I love owning. But unfortunately, like, we live in a house right now that doesn't have the best, like, storage space. We don't really have the best way of displaying things because we have attempted to avoid putting too much up on the walls. I think my room really is the only room that really has anything major on the walls because we've attempted to not put stuff up on the walls, unless absolutely necessary. And like, my room is kind of like my sensory space. It's my safety space. For me, it was important that I have things on the walls, even though I went over a year without putting stuff up. But doing our best here to try to make it work. And I want to first kind of buy some shelving or buy some stuff to organize what we have already. In terms of my stuffed animals, my husband's stuffed animals, like our collective collection, because this collection that I have is not just my collection, it is a collection of both my husband and I together. A big part of it lives in my bedroom, because I'm mostly the one that uses them in a lot of ways, and I take really good care of my stuffed animals, so that's why they live in my bedroom. But they're both mine and my husband's collection. Like, some of the stuff that I have in my room is also his too. Like, it's not all just mine. It is our collective collection, you know, in a sense. And he has the ones that are the most important to him in his room, and he has someone downstairs. So it's a combination of both of ours. Like, the Pokemon collection is both of ours. The Squishmallows is both of ours. Obviously, a lot of our Squishmallows are downstairs because we use them as pillows, like I mentioned in a previous video. But yeah, I just want to try to, like, keep the collection. No, I don't want to, like, grow my collection too much more than it already is. Because I know that there's already a lot, and I already foresee that the collection I have right now in terms of stuffed animals is going to take up a couple boxes at least, like at least 3 boxes, if not more. And I want to make sure that when we do end up moving, that unpacking isn't going to be as overwhelming as it was when we moved here. Because when we moved here, we had a lot of stuff that we, like, didn't need. So I want to make sure that my collection is packed in as little boxes as possible so that I can unpack those first. Because generally my way of doing things, which is exactly how it worked when we moved here, was to unpack my room first. So unpack the stuff that is my stuff, the stuff that I need. And then from there, we unpack everything else, because my space is kind of like my sensory heaven. And without it feels weird, and I feel dysregulated without my stuff. Now, I'm not saying that I consider myself like a materialistic person per se. I do realize that I have immense amount of, in a sense, privilege to be able to have the stuff that I have, to be able to afford the collections that I have, to be able to live in an environment where I can have everything I own. But I also want to make sure that I live life in a way that is meaningful, and I recognize that my collections aren't end all be all. Like, I still need connection with people. I still need other things. And while, yes, I find comfort in my collections, and while, yes, my collections are a big part of my personality in a sense, they're not necessarily the only thing in my life that matters. I don't know how else to explain it. What I'm trying to get at kind of is the idea that I'm trying to minimize how much more stuff I bring in until we end up moving. And even in the process, as we're figuring this out and as I'm triaging through things, because you guys know that I am constantly triaging through stuff. Like, I went through a triage back in August and September. And I've been constantly triaging ever since, getting rid of things, adding new things, doing all the things, trying to, like, find that happy medium between having my collections, having the things that bring me joy, but also at the same time too, not overdoing it. And I know there'll be people out there who will say, well, you have a pretty big collection. True, I do have a pretty big collection. I'm not at all minimizing my collection or trying to say that my collection isn't generally pretty big. But I also don't want it overrunning my life. So that is kind of the general gist of that part of things. But other than that, like, my main focus has been on, obviously, inner child healing. The stuffed animals are a big part of that. Figuring out what we want in a home. Obviously taking care of my cats, making sure everything is good. Taking care of my own well-being, taking care of myself. Healing from the trauma, healing from all of the things. And kind of just figuring out the level of what is a comfort item. Like, are all of my stuffies comfort items? Do I have certain stuffies that are comfort items and certain stuffies that are collections? Like, how exactly does this all work? That's the thing that I am now in the process of attempting to figure out. Because I think I do gravitate towards my stuffed animals. I do gravitate towards the comfort of having them around. But at the same time too, like, there's some of my stuffed animals that, like, are there for decor purposes. They're not necessarily there for use per se. And I think one of the things that I'm considering is, how do I take my collection that I currently have that make me very, very happy and I absolutely love them, but how do I take them and put them in a way where I can display them? Like, how do I better display what I have currently? Because right now, my stuffies are basically in an organized pile. But the thing is, you can't see all of them. They are organized. They are set up in a way, but you cannot see all of my stuffies that I have. And I really want to have a separate room for all of this. Like, I want to try to have the difference between my bedroom versus the stuffy room, if that makes sense. And I currently don't have that. I only have my bedroom. That's literally the only space I have outside of the living room. And the living room has a lot of stuffed animals too, but I don't like, I don't know. I don't know how. I want to have a separate room that's like keeping my bedroom separate from the inner child healing room, for example, because I think my stuffed animals are a big part of my inner child healing. So also I want to try to spend less, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to feel like my life is being overrun by stuffed animals. I don't want to feel like my life is being taken over by my stuffed animals. And it's an ongoing thing. It's kind of one of those things that's like, I'm forever figuring this out. I don't know that I'll ever totally have it 100% figured out. I'm hoping that once we have our own home, once we have our own space that's ours, I can find a better way of organizing everything. But as of right now, like, we're doing the best we can with what we've got. The plan for this home wasn't for this house to ever be our forever home. This renting situation that we're under right now, it was supposed to be a temporary thing. As my husband obviously finished his PhD, went through his PhD, got started with his work stuff, as we figured out whether or not the area we're in was going to be a permanent area, whether we were going to go elsewhere. And now that we know that where we are is permanent, we want to try to look for something more. We want to try to look for something that is more of a permanent situation, so that we can make our house into more of a home. Because even though right now it is a home, it is our home, this is our home currently, there's still a lot of things about this home that I want to change. I would love to be able to change, but I can't because we're renting. So it's kind of the gist. That's kind of where I'm at with my mindset on having a collection, my collections, where we're at now, what the plan is for the future, what I'm thinking of as of right now. Like I said, toy hunting videos, we're not going to stop doing those. We're not going to stop doing those thrifting videos. We're not going to stop doing all of that. I absolutely love going to thrift stores, going to antique stores, showing you guys the stuffies, showing you guys dolls, showing you guys all the things, talking about my collection currently. You guys will still see plenty of my collection. I will go through and I will show you guys more of my collection over time in videos, and you will see all of those things. However, I probably will not be buying any more stuff unless there is something absolutely, like, I know that I'm never going to find that thing again, or it's going to be very rare for me to find that thing again. Like with the mice that I got, the holiday mice that I found, the one from 1996 and 1999. Unless I find something like that, I probably won't be adding any more retail priced things to my collection, or anything like that. Like the GameStop bunny rabbit that you guys saw me pick up, the bunny rabbit from GameStop. The only reason I picked it up was because I had a gift card for it. And that was, again, one of those situations where I will generally not pay retail price for most things. Unless it's a gift, someone offered it, unless I have a gift card that I can pay for it, or whatever. It's unlikely that I'm going to be buying stuff from retail for retail prices anymore. And I learned that a few years ago, that buying retail is not something that brings me a lot of joy. There are things I have obviously in my collection that are at retail price, okay? But I want to keep a lot of my collections to vintage, thrifted things that have been loved, have been well loved, or things that just are unique. Like I have right now I have Chip and Dale from, obviously I have Chip and Dale from Disney, and those were retail price. My husband got them for me. But the reason I have them is because as a kid I used to have a Chip and Dale plush, and I don't know where they are. I gave a lot of my childhood plushies away, so a lot of things that I had as a kid I gave away. But yeah, but most of the stuff like is not stuff that I would typically buy at retail price. Most of it is thrifted. I do try to thrift as many things as I can. Most of my clothes is thrifted. A lot of my clothing items are currently thrifted, or they're gifts, or they're whatever. But anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go because I have been rambling for 20 minutes, and I probably could ramble on even longer if you guys let me. Which I hope you guys like these videos. I know that they're probably not as entertaining as my toy hunting vlog videos. But this was on my mind. This was something that I was thinking about, and I wanted to just talk about it. I also wanted to mention, I love these caps for the bottles, for these cans. They are perfect. They are spill proof, which means I know that the can is not going to spill, and I can drink it easily. Not sponsored, by the way, just something that I love and that I have found. And I found that they have these for actual water bottles too. So I love it. But anyway, I'm gonna go and potentially try to sleep, because tomorrow we have, not only do I have volunteering, but I also have a D&D, our D&D game that we haven't done in several weeks. So I'm gonna go, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Remember, as always, if you're going through it, you'll get through it. And remember who you are. And remember that no matter who you are as a person, no matter what you're going through as a person, your worth does not change. Your worth is not determined by your grades, by your income, by the status of where you live, or how big your home is, or any of that. Your worth is determined by who you are as a person, by the way you treat other people. You are worth it, whether or not you have whether you have a lot to give or only a very little to give. You are worth it whether you are a minimalist or whether you have a bunch of stuff. You are worth it regardless. So, regardless of whether you drive a secondhand car or whether or not you have the most high-priced car. I love you guys. And I think I already said it, but I'm going to say it again. As always, remember, if you're going through it, you'll get through it. And remember who you are. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.